Hi everybody and welcome to another painting with Fox Splatter. Today's painting is going to be of a dragon. The goal was to make it like an air dragon. I'm not sure how well I succeeded, but I really like how it turned out after everything. And this video is also to show you how important it is to plan out your background and your paintings and just plan out your art as much as possible. Alright, let's get to it. I started this painting by doing a light blue background with little streaks of more lighter areas and darker areas to kind of make it a kind of sky feeling. After doing a background that I was mainly happy with, I started sketching out the outline of the dragon, not worrying too much about details. I'm just worrying about proportions and where everything's gonna go right now. I was happy with the outline of the dragon, what it was going to be perched on, and all of that, I started whiting out where the dragon is because I knew I wanted it to be a light colored dragon, so I wanted to be able to work on top of the white instead of having to make it darker because of the background. Then once I had everything blocked out, I started by adding some color. I had an idea of what I was going to do. I had these old paints that I never really used anything because they were too see-through and I couldn't, even adding more layers to them, they were still see-through. So there was no way of darkening or brightening them. So I thought it would be a cool idea to try to use them to do like a rainbow pearlescence effect. And once I was done doing a base coat, just use my normal acrylics to go over them to kind of make them blend more. After adding the color, I went back through with a white to highlight and map out the detailed areas before adding shading. After adding the highlights, I then started going through with a really watered down gray to go back through and add the darker shading and more detail areas. Then once I was happy with the shading, I started sketching out and doing the more details with the gray and some areas black, like around the eye, just to make them darker and stand out more. I then went back with a white and added details of the scales. After all that, this is where the true lesson begins. I really liked how the dragon looked, but the problem was the background was too light and it made it so the dragon kind of blended in more than I wanted it to. So I decided to redo the backgrounds after already doing the dragon, which you will see how difficult that is, because then you have to go around every nook and cranny and all around the edges trying to get it so that the background blends well together but still not going over all of the detail I've already put. Which, once I did the first layer of the dark color, I ended up having to do another layer of a darker color because it looked splotchy. And that's what can happen when you decide to do the foreground before doing the background, where when you have to go around all of the nooks and crannies, it tends to look more splotchy because you can't just go over and blend it very well with the different types of brushes, because you have to use smaller brush to go around the finer details, which the smaller brush has a different thickness as the bigger brushes, obviously, so it's going to give off a different texture. And so it is very important that I found that to do the background, especially if you know you're going to do a darker background, to do the background first. And then you can go around it and white out the areas that you want more detailed. Or you can, if you already know what you're going to do, you can kind of do the backgrounds and maybe go into where you're going to be painting for the foreground, but not do the entire area that you're going to be working with detail on. After I was done and finally was happy with the background not being as splotchy, I then didn't like the clouds because the clouds kind of also blended into the dragon and didn't really fit well with the darker background. So I also had to go back through and make the clouds a bit darker. I ended up adding more blues to them at first, and after that still decided that they weren't dark enough. So after going back through and fixing up some of the mistakes from going into the dragon with the backgrounds, I then went back over the clouds with a darker gray. Although it was more work and took a little bit more time to do this painting than I would have liked and originally planned because of redoing the background, I am still pretty happy with how it came out. This is my first time doing a dragon since middle school pretty much, so I'd say I'm pretty happy with it. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and don't forget to check out my Etsy shop and other forms of social media that I am going to post down below to see more paintings and more videos like this one. Thanks everyone so much for all of the love and the support you have shown so far. And until next time, bye!